I'm going to ask Jerry to share with us what we should have in our emergency kit. But I'm going to first, Jerry, before we start, I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll, and I'm going to ask folks to tell me what do they think should be in their emergency kit. So, so you can only choose one thing, but there's a lot of good choices here. So a small toy, a stuffy, or a puzzle book with a pen or a pencil, hard candy or gum, a foil blanket and seasonal clothing, a solar or crank cell phone charger. You might also have a solar or crank radio. Could be any or all of those things. And then I know
so bad. Like,
yeah.
I keep clicking.
You're like, I just want to click on all the things.
I just want to click. So yeah.
So, but before we get Jerry, before Jerry talks about this, I'm going to ask all of our panelists, like, what's the favorite thing, or your, let's call it a comfort item that you have in your emergency kit? Allison, do you want to go first?
Sure.
What's your comfort item?
Well, for me, I love food, and food is a source. Food is a source of comfort, and I especially like spicy food. So I've got chili peppers and some good curries in my emergency kit. The other thing is that my family is a bit addicted to playing Crazy Rummy, so a couple decks of cards are in there too.
Awesome, I love that. Anita, what's your let's call it your comfort item in your emergency kit for your family?
I have one of those hand crank radios because I think the silence would really, and I've gone camping, and if you have a very energetic child, a hand crank radio is a great activity that allows people to generate energy and kind of contain themselves, have something
to be busy. Like that's a good start. I mean, I have one of those, but it didn't occur to me to give it to my kid and get her.
Oh yeah, and you say, hey, can you make me some music? And then people have something to do too. I think what is really frustrating in emergency situations is we all want to. I don't know. In my family, we all want to be doing something, so that can give the littlest person something to do, and it sounds good.
Yeah, John, what's your favorite item in your emergency kit? What's your comfort item? Oh, you got it. Oh, that's your headlamp, but you have to turn your mic on so we can hear you. John, you're muted.
Sure. Thanks, Jen.
I can see your headlamp.
The headlamp, so that I don't like sitting in the dark. So you can actually see what you're doing. Your hands are free if you need to move things or collect things. So that's number one. And then the radio, the hand crank radio as well, is just a great item to have. You don't have to worry about batteries. You can just crank it up and try and find out what's happening from other sources.
Awesome. So before I go to Jerry, I did an interview today, and it was one of my friends who was doing the interview, and they said, Jen, how many bags of chips do you have in your emergency kit? And I felt like I should say, I don't want to answer that question, but I said, well, we should be prepared for 14 days. So I feel like I should have 14 to 16 bags of chips. That seems reasonable to me. So just saying, I won't tell you how large they are. The other thing I really think is important is, and I don't know if you can all see this, but this is a down blanket. And I have it in my car emergency kit. I also have them in the emergency kit that's in my house, and it's like a blanket. So if, we're delayed and we get stuck on the highway somewhere, or we're at the ferry, it's an awesome thing to have in your kit. So that's my favorite item, in addition to the earthquake chips. I've heard of storm chips. These are earthquake chips. Okay. Jerry, what's your favorite item? And then maybe you could share with us some emergency preparedness tips.
Well, you already know I have the emergency bag of potato chips. That goes without saying. And as well, a good bottle of red wine.
This is why we're friends, here. Jerry.
Yeah, that's right. And I also like to have brain candy. So I like to have a mystery novel that I can read, and with it in a Ziploc bag, and I have an extra pair of reading glasses. But the other thing I like, and I'm going to hold it up here. This is a solar powered light, and it unfolds.
That is so cool.
And then you blows up, and you can hang it from anything. And then the next morning you deflate it, you put it out in the sun again, and you have light. And I love that. I've got two of them. One's in the emergency kit, one's from the emergency kit, and the other one is for the ever-present winter storm that we always have. So you were talking about emergency kits, and the great thing earlier, Allison and John in their slideshow did show some of the basic things that we have. So we all know we need to have water, we need to have some food, we need to have, you know, the can opener to open up our non-perishable foods, that sort of thing. Some sort of cooking source. Most of us have camping equipment, so we can use those. The tent, I think, is really important to have in your emergency kit because, as Allison said, it may be just some parts of your house that are structurally not sound, but we're going to be sheltering in place. So it may be that you're going to have your tent in your living room because it might not be the summer. Maybe it's the winter, it's a bit colder. So having a tent, you'd be surprised how warm you can stay. But one of the things I think, and most of the times we don't talk about this, you know, we talk about our drinking water, but we need water for other things, basic hygiene. And last year, I'm going to use myself as an example, our pipes froze in the winter, so we didn't have water. And when you have to bring water in, you become very mindful of what you're using for your water. So one of the things that I do have in my emergency kit, and I'm going to hold this up in a Ziploc bag. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of putting things in Ziploc bags. So what I have in here is an assortment of different types of wipes. So this one you can use for doing your face. This one maybe for your counters. This one is for doing other business.
That was very diplomatic.
Yes, but hey, you're not going to have water for showers and things. And most of us have, you know, extra bottles of hand sanitizer now. So I always say, pop it all into a Ziploc bag. As long as you don't open any of these packages, they will stay fresh for quite a while. And I do go through and look at them at the very least once a year, but it's usually during EP week and shakeout week. Hence, these are, I just recycled these. It's a good time to do that. But it is really important because when you think about that water, each person in your household, just for basic to stay alive, to be healthy, needs 3 liters of water. But we say in emergency management, 4 liters of water per day.
Per person per day, yeah.
That's right. Then you have your pets. So how much of this water are you going, you know, like, you know, you're going to be doing some work. You're going to be, you know, moving debris and stuff, and you will get thirsty. So you're going to be thinking, when, you know, can I spare that water on hands and stuff? And really, what are the sorts of things that we really do end up with problems after a big earthquake? It's usually infections from not being able to be very hygienic, to be perfectly honest, right? So the more little things like this, and they're not expensive. Each of those little packages of wipes, I just bought $1 each. You know, it's not that bad. So, you know, even if you're on a tight budget, every once in a while grabbing one and putting it in there, really, it's really makes a difference.
And that's the same with any of your emergency items though, Jerry. I think it's a little bit at a time, right? We don't have to go and buy a big giant kit all at once. So you certainly can, and those absolutely exist. But a little bit at a time is another way to do it.
And today I was doing an event, and so we were talking about stuff in our emergency kits, and a few people mentioned their really horrible granola bars that they forget to recycle, right? To go in every 6 months. So I actually don't put granola bars in there. I buy a bar. I'm showing another thing. You can buy these high energy bars that are good for 5 to 6 years. This cost me $2.50. It's well worth buying one of these than throwing out because you've remembered, oh yeah, I've got to go and rotate that, and you taste it and you go, ugh.
Don't want that.
Not going down. Yeah. So, you know, every once in a while, grabbing one of these, you know, and grabbing one for each member of the family and throwing that in there as well. High energy, because you are going to be working.
Yeah. I also grabbed, I have here a Life Straw. So this is another thing that, depending on where you are in the province or along the coast, I also have these in my car vehicle, but of course they're in my emergency kit too. And it's, you know, if you have access to reasonably fresh water, you know, a stream or a creek, that this will auto filter the water as well, so you can safely drink it. So that's just one more option to have available to you. Jerry, how long? Go ahead.
I suggest people actually have those in their car, because